Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Iskia. Welcome to another episode of the Element Podcast. Today, we have a special guest, KJ Crouch. KJ and I go back since second grade, so it's been a while. So you can kind of tell how deep this one runs. It was a great podcast. We actually shot this one up in Durango, Colorado, while we were on our snowboarding trip with a couple homies. So, I want you guys to sit back, relax, enjoy this one, and check out KJ and his Element. I don't know why I'm nervous. It's probably the one that I'm like most nervous about. I don't know why. I think because it's like I think I have expectations that it's gonna be great, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so 148, man. You wanna get into it? Open it up.
Sponsored by.
Huh? Right. I need to have I need to have these in like every single one, you know?
Yeah.
Just to be like product placement.
Yeah.
You know? So, all right, bro, we're present. We're here. Yeah, dude, let's get into it.
We are live.
All right, we're live, bro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Element Podcast. My name is Iskia, and I have a really, really good friend. I'm going to let himself introduce him.
KJ Crouch. KJ's your street name, though?
KJ. How long have you been going by KJ? Has that been since the beginning?
So, funny you say that. I've been going by KJ ever since AJ came to part.
Okay.
Because we both had complicated names for people to pronounce.
Right.
And I've always was like insecure about it because I was like Iskia Jr. But my name is KJ. Like my dad's name is Sam. So it's like KJ Jr. That doesn't make sense. But I was like, I'm just going to go with KJ.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. I don't know if it was just like a teacher that said it. Or maybe
like
just
assumed that
yeah, like
you
I
were.
wanted to be called KJ and it was crazy,
Right.
like wildfire.
Right.
All of a sudden,
And then it just
KJ.
went. I love that, bro. When has it become recent that you go more so by KJ? Because for me, right, if somebody calls me AJ, they've known me for some time.
Right.
Because after high school, right, like I was like only a ski.
Right.
But if people, and I don't mind if people call me AJ, but after that point, it's like if you call me AJ, you've known me for some time.
Right.
Are you the same or what?
No, I honestly, people always ask me, like, what do you prefer? I prefer, like, whatever makes you not feel weird. Because, like, whenever people come to you and try to pronounce it and they're all, I'm just like, no, like, whatever you're comfortable with.
Right.
So, if you like KJ, call me KJ.
Yeah.
I feel like KJ is more, like, triggering to me. So, kind of like you for the AJ. When people do call me KJ, it's either Andrea or my mom or you or Dalton.
Like you're in trouble, you about to get a butt
someone's
whooping.
close to me, and it was funny. One of my coworkers, Tiffany, she started calling me KJ, and I just remember she called me KJ out of the blue, and like it threw me off. I was like, "Whoa!"
Right.
So
I love that, man. Well, take the folks to the beginning. Where are you from? Tell me a bit about your story. Introduce yourself, man.
So I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, born and raised. You know, on the playground where I spend most of
My days. Love it.
So I grew up in like Glendale, or I was born in Glendale. I stayed in Glendale from K through second grade or first grade. From there, I moved to the good old Ahwatukee.
Yep. Foothills.
That was second grade to high school until I graduated. It was so funny because when I moved to Ahwatukee, there was like a gap in like learning. I guess I was at like a B school where Cerritos was an A+ school. So there's different things I was missing out in like my curriculum that I never experienced. So right off the rip, moving to Ahwatukee, I was taking like, it was like I was always behind because like I had to like catch up to get to this point and things like that. But I remember, so I got like my first time ever having a tutor. It was right there off of Ray Road. I'm trying to think of what it was. But
Was it like Kumon type?
yes, it was exactly like that, like a Kumon.
Yeah.
I'd go every Wednesday.
Yep.
And I did that for that year and then caught up. Then once we got into, I would say, the end of second grade summer, that's when I met you. Invited you to Stratum Laser Tag on June 20th. Be there, be square.
Right.
And that was actually where we moved from Ahwatukee to Maricopa. So we were only in Ahwatukee for a year.
Was that summer?
Yes.
It was like over the course of the summer before school. Okay.
Literally got through school, like moved to Ahwatukee the beginning of the school year, got through the school year, and then by the end of the summer, we were moving to Maricopa. So that was, we were loving it, because from when we moved from Glendale to Ahwatukee, we were like, is this Christmas? Like, we had like a big bedroom. Me and my sister used to share one, which we're so close in age that is like, we slept in the bed together probably till we were like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And like, my sister was just scared to be alone, and I used to like pee the bed all the time. Like, I probably peed the bed to like 9 or 10, like close to double digits.
Right.
But like, that did not even faze my sister, just because we just grew up together close. Boogeyman would come out, like I'd be the one to be able to save her, I guess. So.
Right. I mean, that's big bro. Right?
Exactly.
That's the big bro mentality.
Yeah.
Which is super special. What was that like growing up with someone so close in age? Because I had my sisters, right, on the podcast, and one of the things that they talked about a lot was like how they were able to lean on each other a lot. Yeah. Do you feel like you and your sister were able to have that same relationship going through school?
No, definitely. We bickered back and forth a lot, but that's just because we loved each other.
Yes.
But we were like, growing up, I remember even if we'd go like, because we were always in like daycare type situations, because my mom was always working. And but I knew I could always lean on my sister, or we used to like, let's go play like cops and robbers, things like that, to where we definitely lean on each other a lot. Since we were, honestly, because I was her older brother, I was like really hard on her. So like, just wanting her to follow these expectations, or and that's the crap part too, like us being a year apart in age. Like, you know how it is, if you hear a rumor like, or things like that, it's like, I'm gonna hear it just as I might hear it before you even know it. Right. So it was like having that relationship of us so close in age, and close friend groups and things like that. It was nice. And me and my sister are so different that that's like what I think balanced it out, because, you know, Salida was more, she wasn't shy, but like we more had to push her into sports and things like that. And she was like a natural athlete with like track and things. With me, I was like convincing my mom in 6th grade, like why she needs to take me to cross country practice at 4:45 in the morning every day. Right. So that type of thing. But the more I think about it now, it's like, now that we're older, I appreciate our relationship way more, because before it was always like, I want my space, like I want to be able to branch without you and things like that. And now it's like, dang, let me see like what my little sister thinks about this. Like even the other day I just called her when I was baking some chicken, because I always see her making, you know, bomb food like me. And I'm just like, yo, like what temperature you do, how much water? She's like, stop doing the water like mom says. It's like, put chicken stock in it. Like I'm telling you, like do a cup of that, and then chicken stock would be the difference. So now it's cool to see her grow up and just kind of blossom herself. And because even then, like she didn't really start driving, not like she had no motivation, but she was just like content with life. Like she had a big brother and mom and friends that'd be able to get her to point A and point B, and all sorts of things like that. But
now they can put you on. She can put you on.
Exactly. And it's like, it's just crazy, because she's a hustler like me too. So now I really need to reach out more. And it's crazy because I have like a younger sister that's a year and a half, and then Maja. So, and Maja's like,
how old is she?
She's what, 12? Yeah. She's 12. That's crazy.
It's half your age, bro.
Yeah. She's 12. She's about to be a teen.
Yeah. And
like, that was like, it's funny that you say with like the sister and relationship, me and Salida grew up so close. So like I knew every little intricate detail about Salida. Where with Maja, I feel like I've missed out so much on her life, because right when we were transitioning, I was in college, gone, moved to Flagstaff. Right. I've been in Flagstaff for the last 6-7 years. Right. So the gap of, or the relationship with me and my sister and Maja, so there was,
it's different.
Yeah, it's just different. So now I really need to invest. That's why I was telling myself more time. And she has a phone, like I can FaceTime her. Yeah. And she's so computer savvy, and like she's grown. And it's funny to see her grown up as a like only child. Yeah. Because like me and my sister were never that. It was always sharing things. Look out for your sister, she looks out for me type thing, to where Maja's like, nah, that's mine. Like,
that's my space.
I run the whole living room. I got the guest room. I got this. Like,
and I invite you.
Exactly.
You know, so, I allow you in this space.
But it's so funny because where me and Salida were opposite, Maja is like a spinning image of me, but in like a girl version.
Well, that's interesting.
So just seeing Maja like grow and make moves, me going back to Flagstaff and seeing her months, I probably 5 to 7 times a year, I really get to see her grow truly where everyone else can't because they see her more often.
Right.
So she's on the right path, and whatever she wants to do in life, that's the cool part. Like, I don't know, but she gonna kill it. So
what do you think about so obviously you're one of the most personal people. Anybody ever talks about you behind your back, it's always like you're the most personable person, you're the funniest, you have like the wildest personality that's just awesome that people love. Where do you think that comes from with the context of like how you grew up? Like what parts of your mom and your sister being there, like what parts do you think they instilled in you that made you so likable to other people?
I would say, I mean, my mom, as you know, I'm a spitting image of her and a little piece of my aunt too, but it's funny you say that. I would say it started with my mom always being that person to be able to, hey, what's your opinion about this at the grocery store, to the grocery clerk, or things like that. And then like always like loving other people. Like my mom was like just big on that. If we were out on the road, and you know how it is in Phoenix, and she sees someone in a wheelchair, or she sees someone that could be struggling, you know, just God bless them, Lord, you know, incorporate them in a quick prayer, and just always involving people. And it's like, oh, we're going to give them money not because you think they're going to use them for drugs or things like that. Right. You're going to give it to them from your heart because
it's the right thing to do.
You love your neighbors. And so seeing my mom always want to love everyone and then be so open and the social butterfly she is, I definitely just gripped onto that and just saw it's not what you know, it's who you know. And being personable and being able to kind of get into people's lives and do just little things like that, it's gotten me so far. I didn't realize that I was so personable until kind of I got into like corporate America and how, you know, everyone's doing this specific thing, but how can you do it differently? And it's like, do it differently and still prosper at it.
What's your value proposition?
Huh?
Like, what's your value proposition? You know, that's the thing. Yeah. Exactly. What makes you valuable? Like, what do you bring to the table?
Exactly. And I just think my mom always just wanting to push, and especially young, my mom always told me, like, you're the one man that can change the world. And when that Big Sean song came out, they're like, that's our song. Like,
that's it, baby. That's
like,
it.
It could, like, put me into tears. Like, my mom, anytime she sees it on XM, she'll send me a picture, like, thinking about you. But, like, truly just, you're the one man that could change the world. And I didn't start believing that until, like, in high school. Because it was just like, oh, like, yeah, you could do anything you want. And, like, that was something, like, my mom always said. Like, even, like, going to college. I wanted to go to Denver University, play rugby there. A private school. I remember, you know, in high school, you could set up, like, the meetings with the counselors and things like that.
Or whatever, yeah.
And it was, like, $56,000 plus tuition and things like that. And my mom was like, don't look at that price. She's like, whatever we need to do that, like, you'll do it. But like whatever you want to do, just run with it, shoot for the stars. And so always having that mentality of just like, you could do whatever you want. And then starting to see like, no, yes, you can. And like the human mind is so powerful that like, once you have that energy or spirit or willpower, just that grit, it's like, you can do whatever you want. And that's like what I love. And now that I manage other people, that's something that like my mom gave me that key that it's like, how can I give that to other people and unlock that for them?
Right.
Because
so
like,
what do you run up against though, that like people kind of push back against being able to fulfill that for themselves? Like what kind of doubts do you see in people? Why do people not believe in themselves?
I would say insecurities and not even like fathoming it, because like, a lot of people don't even think outside of the box. And it's like not our fault, but like we're grown to follow these type of structures and rules. And it's like no one ever thinks about bending them. And it's like every time you think about bending them, it's condescending and things like that. But not like kind of like Dalton. It's like, how can I finesse this and work more efficiently to get it done?
Right.
And so like once you kind of have like that logic and confidence, because it's really just confidence, it's like you can truly do whatever you want. And everyone's broken in this world. And it's like once you can understand that and realize that it's like what's your broken, because like we can both relate on some type of brokenness. Right. It's like, you know, we're all just people. So it's like, what can we do to elevate each other? And that's just why like I just love our relationship with the three amigos, you and Dalton, because like we've always had that mentality of just like, it's not, you know, what, it's when, because we could do whatever we want. We know that. It's just, when do we want to do it, how, and truly just having the patience. Right. Because now I'm just realizing I want to run through everything, but life is good. Like, let's just sit here and smell the flowers and
and keep applying pressure.
Yep.
But at the same time, keep applying pressure.
Yeah. And the top on that, the biggest thing, and I always say this, is just staying uncomfortable. People don't want to stay uncomfortable. People hate change.
Tell me more.
Because it's not fun. Like, and it's just kind of like the situation I got thrown in with Enterprise. Like, I kind of found out on like a 3-day basis that, hey, do you want to have an opportunity to make an extra 20 grand? Right. And, you know, me and Andrea, we have a 6 setup in Flagstaff, you know, paying a great price, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just us. And we're to the point where, you know, we want to get to like Colorado, out of state, things like that. And we're like, how are we going to do those things? Yeah. And so now that it's so much easier just re-signing our lease for the same cheap rate and stay in Flagstaff and, you know, go snowboard and do whatever we want. But it's like, no, like, how can we stay uncomfortable? Because now we're kind of feeling like we're in autopilot. Now we were able to find a place together, be able to afford it together, have no issues, grow and find work. Now it's just like Flagstaff is, you know, it's on the back of our hand. We could tell you the ins and outs, the quickest way to get there. We're seeing Flagstaff actually evolve to where it's not like our small town anymore. Right. So now it's just like, what's the next uncomfortable move? And like, once I started actually thinking about it, like, hey, like, should we go and move to Phoenix? And Andre and I kind of deliberated and was like, yeah. She's like, you know, I've been thinking about this. I want to go back to school, which, you know, school has always been, I don't like school. I don't like school. We got degrees though. So
let them know.
They can't take that back.
But going to Phoenix is mad uncomfortable for you guys.
Exactly. Yeah. And Phoenix is somewhere that I never see myself going back to, just because I grew up there. And the reason I moved to Flagstaff is because that was like my cheaper Colorado in the sake, because I couldn't go, and not because I couldn't go to the DU, because, you know, my mom was about it, but just because it wasn't realistic for me, and I found a better setup in Northern Arizona. So
I love that. What's the fine line between rationally making appropriate moves that are uncomfortable versus doing stupid stuff? Because you guys going to Hawaii would be mad uncomfortable. Right. Finding a new job, like quitting your jobs and saying, we're moving to Hawaii. Right. Wouldn't make any sense. It's mad uncomfortable because you have to figure it out. But like, what's the delineation between, like, what are the factors that you guys are taking into consideration when you're deliberating on making a uncomfortable move?
Basically, what would we grow from it? Would we grow from it? Because, like, every time we do make those decisions, it's like, for example, is it the cost of living? Like, would we have to change our lifestyle? I'm not, you know, I'm all about saving money and balling on a budget, but I also am a little bit bougie. You know, I like the finer things in life, or certain things. Of course. So seeing, you know, how will this affect our lifestyle, and, you know, can we truly grow from it? And I feel like anyone should have the opportunity to be able to move somewhere and not start from scratch, but start from scratch. And where's the best foundation to start from scratch? Kind of like what Gabe was talking about in that last podcast, where it's like, you know, what makes the most sense? So like, let's go and check it out. And if it doesn't, then okay, on to the next one. But kind of just scoping it out beforehand. So we've been kind of looking at places, and it's crazy because if we want to look at places in LA, it's like we could share a 5-bedroom with 5 different people. Right. But we started looking at Colorado, and it was like, we'd love to go and live in Summit County in Frisco, and a nice mountain town, but it's like Colorado Springs might be a little more realistic. Yeah. So, but I really think that kind of what you're saying, the more I think about it, it's kind of like what we talk about. There's no wrong decision. anything that you're going to do anyways, you're going to do your best with. So it's like, if we did want to go and just, hey, let's go and start from scratch, let's start networking out in this place. I mean, it wouldn't be ideal, but I think we'd be able to figure it out. I'd be able to find something, she'd be able to find something and do it. And then it might be one of the best experience of our life. I mean, even just, we went to Vegas on a whim. Probably woke up Friday, kind of like joking around, hey, let's go to Vegas. And then by noon, we're like, hey, we just booked a hotel. As soon as we get off work, we're going to go to Vegas. And honestly, that was one of like the best times I've ever had with like Andrea. And just because it was like, we had no true plans. And that's like the issues that I feel like people run into. Like we were talking about even on vacation. It's like, you feel like you have these plans and set. And if you don't achieve them, then like you failed. Where it's like, man, your plan was to go to Colorado, but you slept the whole time. Hey, you reset and you got to see a beautiful place. So it's like, you'll never do wrong. But us going to Vegas and just having no plans and making them on the spot, it was just so much fun. And doing things more spontaneous and not thinking about the consequences, because we're go-getters. So it's like, no matter what we do, we're going to go and get it anyways. We know that. It's just, we're realistic and we want to make the best decision for ourselves. So it's, you know, making the best decisions, having the best finances saved for it. But even then, it's like, for example, kind of with my enterprise career, I started as an MT in Phoenix. Long story to short, I was excelling at a very high level, #1 MT my very first month. They're super competitive on how they analyze you on a matrix. Moved to Flagstaff like on a whim. And, you know, anyone that looked outside of the bubble, it was, you're performing at this level. Why would you move from Phoenix to Flagstaff, where there's only 2 branches in Flagstaff, where there's 30 and like a 10-mile radius in Phoenix? And, you know, for me, I could be like, if it was a money aspect truly, which it wasn't about that, it wouldn't make sense on the money thing. I would stay in Phoenix, network there,
and keep grinding,
be able to have bigger branches to go to. But instead, I was able to go to Flagstaff. You know, COVID hit, so that was a whole nother story. Actually, it's funny. I moved to Flagstaff 3 days before my company shut down, like, transfers.
Oh, I didn't know it was that close.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And they didn't announce that to me. We didn't know that, but they stopped the in group because they were going to cut people. So they didn't want people to transfer. And then cut them 2 weeks later.
That's wild, bro.
Yeah. So move up to Flagstaff. Really doesn't make sense. Thank God I was lucky. I made the cut, the A team.
Yeah. Just because you were performing so high. They're like, we definitely don't want to let this guy go.
That, and I mean, you can't rent cars from home, thank God. So like no matter what, like, because they laid off our HR. And I remember I had kind of one of my mentors, Trey. He was my branch manager, and he became the area manager up there.
Trey's a homie.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Yeah,
he's just one of those guys that he's 30 years old. He's like us, just a go-getter in his bag, but like still loves people. And like that's the one thing is like he's in his bag, but he lives like he's not. Right. So like, you know, people on the outside be like, oh, he does this for his money and that, but like he's probably one of the most frugal dudes I know. Like you know,
the opposite of the Tinder.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, like, nah, I'm gonna cook. Like I remember during COVID, he was like, nah, I'm just gonna cook. Like I don't trust nothing. Like
that's big.
Things like that. So big investor, but he was someone that I like linked on too hard just because his lifestyle and how he was. I was like, I mean, you can't do wrong following him. Right. But anyways, back to the money aspect. So it wouldn't make sense for me moving to Flagstaff. Once COVID ended, I got promoted to branch manager position in under 2 years. So it was like, where in Phoenix, I mean, I know people are 4, 5, 6 years, not at that position.
Right. So, still stuck in with 1-2 level gap.
Yep. So kind of saying to your question of like the right or wrong decision, it's like from a money aspect, it really made no sense. Like, thank God I had Andrea to be able to stay with her and figure things out until we found a place and things like that. But it did not make sense for me to move to Flagstaff for a money aspect. But if I didn't, I wouldn't have jumped my salary like this that rapidly. Exactly. So it's like, you won't make a wrong. So, you know, as long as you're doing it from the heart, I guess, to answer that question, you can't do wrong on either side.
Right. That makes sense. What how important would you say it has been to have people in whatever craft or industry you're in that are doing what it is that you're doing? Something like a Trey for you. Like, how important has Trey's mentorship per se been for you to not only level up at Enterprise, but to be able to ball out like in life in general?
I would say it's super pivotal. If I didn't have Trey and Farouk in my corner and Whitney,
Yeah.
Trey, Farouk, Whitney, and Stefan, I would say those are like my go-to mentors in the company. Whitney's not with the company anymore, but Stefan, Trey, and Farouk still are. If I didn't have them in that relationship, I wouldn't be with this company. And that's what I think is nice about Enterprise is they're really big about, you know, your personal brand and expanding and having those relationships and those true, genuine relationships that's what keeps you in, because it's a great company, but it's not for the weak. And it's, you know, you're committing to a 49-hour work schedule minimum right out of college. And I would say the good thing about this company, and that's what no one can kind of disagree on now that I'm in the corporate America, is that Enterprise trains better than any company in the world. They take training so close to heart that I've never seen a company want to invest that much money and time into it, but I understand why. So having them in my corner and just like those mentorships is what keeps me going. And sometimes, you know, I used to kind of get hard on myself. It's like, you know, why can't I do that myself, or why do I need those kind of mentorships? But it's just kind of like back to just kind of like my upbringing. It's just like I'm a people person, you know? So at the end of the day, like I'm going to love yours, and it's like loving your neighbors, loving the people around you, things like that is like what I take close to heart. So having that kind of mentorship and knowledge from them on how they conquer those type of experiences, or what their opinion is on that and how I'm doing, is just everything to me.
That's beautiful. So for me, I sometimes go through like ebb and flows within my own career. Sometimes things are peaches and creams, and sometimes it's not, right?
Right.
How do you manage those times? Because obviously at Enterprise, it's not always 100. Right. Sometimes you're frustrated at whatever, right? And so it's like, for you, how do you stay sane, or how do you stay linear through the ebbs and flows of your career, your work? And for a lot of creatives, it's even life. It's like, am I doing the things that I want to do in general, right? So how do you stay sane? What grounds you and roots you?
So definitely like my core circle, of course, but like luckily I have Andrea. So like having like a close partner and just someone that will go to bat for you at any second. It's like, that's what's nice, because especially when I first became branch manager, it was like I was running with my head chopped off. Like I was trying to do every single thing and touch everything, whereas like instead of like delegating and helping others, I was just going crazy. And I just remember Andrea telling me, she just like broke it down with me one day and was like, just how much I talk about work at work and don't leave it at home, where I'm like the king of, you know, wanting to be a social butterfly and do different things. But like, I was just letting it take over my life. Like I was so swamped. When she was like, I mean, and I understand, because she just sat back and just didn't say anything and just kind of let me kind of do it, and was just still supporting me and was listening. But it was to the point where she was like, you don't have to take this at home. Like at the end of the day, that email, they can get it tomorrow. Yeah. And like finally realizing that, like, and I put the skin in the game. So I was like, yeah, and realizing, you know, me responding to this email at 9:30 or at 9 o'clock in the morning, they're still going to see it at the same time. Right. And her not pressuring me to just be like, oh, like you're just, you know, coming at me and making me feel weird. She was just there in my corner. And then so having people that can listen to you and just be able to vent to is like, it's such a blessing, because at the end of the day, I know like I'll be able to go home and I have Andre and Ziggy to go and let them know what happened. Yeah. And it's the same thing. And it's like, with my mom, we have a group chat and things like that. So my mom being able to always check in on me and, you know, how's this going, or what's that? Like, no, even like when I didn't get the spot, she's like, they're lost. Like, and point blank period, like on to the next one. Yeah. So just being able to have her, and you guys, you know, calling you guys, telling you about all the BS I'm dealing with. I can't believe this right now. Right. And you guys like being frank with me, because that's what you need, is people that are going to keep it 100 around you. You can't have people that are going to tell you what you want to hear. Yes, man. You can't, like the yes man. And my mom always said that to me. And my mom and aunt especially, because she was more corporatized than my mom, I would say.
For sure.
But you never want a yes man in your corner.
Right.
And I never knew that at first because I was like, why? I'm a people pleaser.
Right.
Like, so it's like, why would you do that? But it's like, no, because at the end of the day, like, the yes man is just going to get fed all the nonsense compared to me, where I was like, okay, I'll do that, but why can't I do this? Or what can I do to make sure that I do this?
Right.
So,
Talk about the dangers of yes men, right? Like, why do we find like people who do such crazy things that like when you look at them, you're like, how did somebody not stop you from doing like what you just did? Like, talk about like the danger of that and like how someone can go about getting more accountability in their life. Because for you, right, for us, right, it's easy because we notice how important it is, the people at the beginning for us, right? But like for somebody who is in like, it doesn't have any accountability in their life, one, talk about the dangers of not having accountability, and two, like how can somebody go about, do you think, getting that accountability? Like, where can they go?
I would say you get that accountability by staying vulnerable and wearing your heart on a sleeve. Because truly showing your emotions and feelings to the people around you and to your circle, that's how you become accountable. Because at the end of the day, you know, you can think that I'm trying to accomplish this, but at the end of the day, I'm really just trying to accomplish this little fire that's been burning in my pit that I haven't got to say. So wearing your heart on a sleeve, and then it's kind of back to like the yes man mentality. It's easy. It's easy to go and just say yes and follow the structure and follow these guidelines because you'll get a good job and a pat on the back, instead of going outside of the lines and saying, you know, okay, I'll do that, but maybe I'll try to do this and that at the same time. So it's just really easy, and it's kind of back to that staying uncomfortable aspect and, you know, doing that type of thing. So.
Because it's hard to ask for accountability.
It really is.
That's so difficult to say, please check me when I'm wrong. And then to be able to receive the check gracefully. Right.
And meaningfully. Because, you know, you don't take it to heart. Whenever I check you or you check me, it's not because you're better than me. It's because, no, bro. Like, yeah, you're kind of thinking that, but get up and go do it. Yeah. Like, you're saying you want to do that, but you're not.
Right. So your actions aren't holding it through.
Exactly. So like, I'm sorry to be that guy, but go do it. Right. And you're like, okay, you're right. You're right.
I guess so. I guess so, bro. I love that. So what's next for you? Like, what are you up to these days? What you got going on?
So, I mean, it's funny you say that. Next, I would say, is going to Phoenix, but I kind of
on an enterprise move.
Enterprise, yeah. And I was kind of like sprinting because I was just. You know me, I was grinding through that. I wanted to be the best, stay the best. Yeah. And now that I've reached the branch manager spot that, you know, people work so hard to get to. Right. Now it's kind of like I'm coasting again. So now I'm trying to reevaluate and see kind of what moves are best for me. Because now I've always wanted to run through everything, and it kind of still does feel like I'm running through things, but kind of going to another branch and, you know, learning from what I learned from this branch and, you know, seeing how I can run up a bag again.
Yeah, that's something that's kind of been bubbling for me, I think, when I look at you. Mm-hmm. Is there value in the comfort zone? Like, is there value in sitting and marinating in the branch manager position for a year? Yeah. 2 years?
3, 4,
whatever it may be. I mean, there's obviously limits where it's like you obviously want to keep applying pressure. Right. But like, is it possible to increase your impact as a branch manager in that position? Like, are you able to master that before moving to, or like even having sights on something else? Like, has that ever been like, I'm going to be here and perfect this? Because it seems like you've perfected damn near every position because you just keep getting top, whatever it may be. But has it ever like crossed your mind, like, I want to sit here and marinate in this and see what I can learn while I'm being a branch manager for a long time?
So it never did until Andrea wanted to go back to school, because she wants to go back to school to be an x-ray tech, and that's a 2-year program. Yeah. And that's when I realized, you know, I was like, dang, like 2 years, that's a long time. That means if I move to somewhere in Phoenix, like, I actually want to commit to being there, like you're saying, for a while, for at least a year to 2 years.
Right.
If it's at that specific branch, I don't know. But staying a
For
branch manager and, you know, owning that, I definitely didn't take that into consideration until I kind of talked to my partner, because if she wants to go to school, then it's like, okay, well then I don't really have to sprint to this bag anymore. And now I've gotten the bag that a lot of people want. I'm not satisfied with it, mean, I'm doing good. Yeah. So it's like, now that I'm doing good, and I was kind of talking to Dalton about this too, it's like the gap that for me making, you know, I want to make triple to $100,000 is not that far anymore. And it's like, is the stress of me making that extra money worth it? And that's what I started kind of sitting down and realizing, because it's like, you know, me living in Flagstaff, it's like I have a lot of money on hand. You know, I'm able to cover my bills easily. We're able to do kind of whatever we want. And it's nice, but it's like me chasing them back to Phoenix for an extra $20K. It's like, will that stress that I'm having be worth it?
Right. Like, is it worth the sacrifices for the difference? The marginal difference.
Right.
Yeah, and that's genius, because also then it just becomes like, it seems like within this role there's a lot of different aspects that you can control.
Right.
And so to be able to go infinitely deep into those things, to be able to watch the people that you're bringing up get into branch manager roles, like it seems like it's a very, especially at your age, it seems like it could be very rewarding to
just grow the people around you. And like what I can do is, you know, love people and do that, which is exactly what you're saying. So that's beautiful. That's kind of the aspect. And when I became a branch manager, it wasn't about me anymore, because my numbers are the average of the branch, where before it was, you know, it's a dog-eat-dog world.
Exactly.
You know, every ticket
Everybody
counts.
These
are my numbers. No one else wrote this.
No,
like, this
these
was all
are me.
He worked with me.
Right.
So having that switch it's honestly rejuvenating, because I went from having to go that dog mentality to switch and recognize that, hey, it's okay to just slow down. The fast track lane is, you know, you're out of it now. Now let's just coast and kind of sit and marinate, like you were saying, into this role and just grow the people around me. And that's all I can do now. And that's why I'm like so blessed to be in the position, because I've kind of gotten the street cred now. I understand the business more than ever. There's still so much I can learn, but it's enough to where I can go and feel comfortable presenting up to the group rental managers or the vice presidents and things like that. So it's just weird. It's just crazy. Life is crazy right now.
It's a trip.
And I just can't, like I was saying the other day, like I'm just so corporate. Like I didn't realize that the other day.
The most
like,
corporate dude.
Like I promise you, if I open up my phone right now, I have a couple Outlook emails, you know, a couple questions, things like that. You know, I'll get back to you. So it's just sitting back and smelling the roses and marinating, which is, you know, once we move to Phoenix or whatever we decide to do, I'm going to definitely kind of recognize and try to appreciate more.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. When you're not running the branch, what are you doing in your free time?
Oh, I'm modifying my car or I'm snowboarding.
Where'd that fascination come from?
I would say Dalton was a big part of it. Me just kind of sitting with him and going on our YouTube dives where, you know, let's imagine what this would be, or if we did this and that, this car and that. And he was kind of a big part of it. I would say then Matt. We don't talk about Matt, but but Matt was also a big part too, because I've never seen Dalton kind of gravitate to someone like that before that was older.
Right.
And Matt was like such a big brother to us. And like he was about just modifying cars and like me seeing what you could do. I remember he had this GTI. I'm having a play date at Dalton's house that's right around the corner, and Matt's leaving and he drives me home and he's like, I'm in these race car seats and he's in this manual car just banging through gears. And I was like, you just crazy. Like you could do this whenever you want. Like that's just a thing. And Dalton was always kind of like always being safe about it. So because Dalton was always like the dad responsible. Yeah. So having like him as guidelines of like, hey, like this is super cool, but first it's going to take a lot of sacrifice to do this. Like with his car situation, with the deal that he made with his parents. And, you know, like it's all ultimately this can all be swiped from us instantly. by worst case scenario death or by getting a speeding ticket.
Right.
And I'm like Dalton too.
Right.
I've never been pulled over before. So, knock on wood.
Facts.
But I've never been pulled over before, things like that. And kind of now that I have Blue Ivy, my 2014 Cadillac ATS4 that's off V85 and full bolt on, it's like, that was like my first child because I've never, deep diving and changing everything and modifying it and doing it myself off of like a YouTube video. It was kind of like a comforting thing for me. I grew up with a single parent mom, so I never had like the dad with the flashlight story, so it was all me. And me having, Dalton or Dalton's dad, because, Dalton's dad was always like the handyman. So I would see him doing different things with his hands all the time that like I was realizing like, hey, like, I can do these type of things. And then having YouTube, thank God. And, people like my homie J-Rock and all those other people, it's like super easy. And it's like, now it's like my new hobby. I went down the deep dive. I've probably done like 15 modifications to my car. And it's like, there's never an ending. So it's like right now I'm really content with my car. So I'm like everything that I've done, all I want to do now is I have a boost leak, but I'm still pushing 32 pounds of boost. So, y'all don't worry about me. Yeah. I have a boost leak and I just installed a new intercooler and larger throttle body. So if I do move to Phoenix, it's like, where do I want to get it tuned for at 7,000 feet in Flagstaff or at just above sea level in Phoenix. But once I get that flash done, I'd be really content with my car. And then snowboarding, I got into that off of a whim. I got the best mom, she trusted me, bought me a season pass, got me the money to, get all the gear that's needed and just trusted me. But I had Gabe and Dalton, two people I met on the sixth floor riders, and Riley Hall at Northern Arizona University. They are my best friends. That was like my new three amigos in college. It was me, Gabe, and Dalton. So not that they would ever replace you guys, but they were just the new best friends and kind of clique that I had. And they both were good at snowboarding. Gabe really took me under his wing. I was his little prodigy, and he was just so patient. And that's what's cool about Gabe. He's finishing up law school right now.
Oh, nice.
But he was just so patient with me and understanding and just loving and wanted to help me. But he was like, he told me at the beginning of this, he's like, I'm going to help you snowboard. You know why? Because once you can, then I got like a partner. He's like, it's not just for you, selfishly, I'm going to teach you too. And then Dalton was a great addition and helping me too, because he was already there and they were both two kids like you. Came here, like, yeah, we're here to have a good time, but school comes first. And at the end of the day, like, we got to keep above. Dalton was on the lumberjack, so, he had the full ride. Gabe had a scholarship as well, so we all, had to stay above a 3.0. Not even just because it mattered for school and things like that, but for us. Because it was like, it didn't even matter if we were on scholarship. It was, we need to do that for ourselves. And so having that kind of friends that had their heads screwed on right, it was so quick to latch on, and that's why I lived with them for so long and that type of thing. But they were a big factor of teaching me. And then Colton and Zane, it's so funny how I met them. So they lived in 620. So we were on the sixth floor. 620 is my birthday, bro. June 20th. It is. That's so I always like envied them because I'm like, that should be my room. And that room was like slightly bigger. Yeah. And like they were just two kids from Prescott that were just dope. Like so fresh. Same aspect, Zane, I always called Zane Golden Boy because like everything he did, like the first time I went snowboarding, because I was feeling all confident, I have Gabe and Dalton. I was like, you guys snowboard? And they ended up getting me like my first board, like Connect. I bought like the bindings off of Colton, the board off of Zane. Like they set me up for cheap. Yeah. And like, yeah, we snowboard. The first time I went up there, like Zane was doing a backflip. Like Colton's like out here doing all these tricks, like they're riding so hard. I was like, y'all told me, like, what? Y'all didn't tell me y'all snowboard. Right, like but they were just so humble. And it was like, because, they weren't here to prove anything. Right, they weren't here to try to make me feel some type of way. Yep. And they always made me feel like valued, like in that community, that I just like latched onto it so hard and just kind of ran with it. And Colton was like a lot like me and like our lifestyles. So just kind of being able to go, and he's patient as well. He was actually a ski instructor for like children.
Jeez.
But being able to go and just kind of hang out with them, I just fell in love with it. So being able to, I can, in the summertime, I can, mod my car and not race. Let's drive.
No, never.
Drive aggressively.
Never.
And then, in the wintertime, I can hit powder and things like that. It's such a blessing. And that's why, like what we say before, like my tight circle, and it's like, if you know, you know. And like, if you have to ask if you're in my tight circle, then you're 100% not in it. Like,
right.
Type of thing.
Right.
But having that is what keeps me kicking, because without that, it's like, I don't know. Not that like I don't have anything to live for, but it's like my will power to do things would definitely,
life would be a lot less interesting.
Yeah.
And it seems like you've really done a good job of creating the life that you want for yourself.
Yeah.
Was that very intentional, or was that like, I'm just going to do my best in the moment right now and see what happens? Because I've heard it come up a lot now, is like people really talking about, I want to create the life that I want to live. I want to manifest and vision board and stuff like that. Right. Like for you, is that something that you think about? Like, I want to create my life in the way that I want to?
I would say it's like two things, kind of back to like, I'm the one man that can change the world. So like, I'm the one man that can change my life. It's like what my mom instilled with me. But Colton is like, not that he ran, he ran that whole motivation for me and like every single aspect, but Colton was just someone that truly lived his life how he wanted it to and had the patience and understanding to know that it would work out. Mm-hmm. And like seeing that freshman year of Colton, because you're juggling so many things with college and experiences and stuff like that, but like seeing someone actually truly live that lifestyle and grasp onto it,
it's so fascinating, bro.
It was crazy, and I would never forget it, because like Colton, I've never seen like Colton kind of flustered one day freshman year. He's like, dude, I'm in this business school, like, like I'm getting bad grades, like I'm not sure what I want to do. He's like, honestly, what I want to do is just kind of like do like film and stuff like that. And I was like, then do it. Like, you're the one that always does it. Like, because he would say, like, I'm the one that, started that and excited that and changed his life. And I was like, no, bro. I was like, I was the one that always kind of looked up to you to, like, just do whatever you want. And, like, you were like, not. And I just told you to do it. And you did it. And it was crazy because, like, he changed his major and did it. And then ran up and did all thing things. And I'm going to move down to Phoenix and film for Big Doss. Why? Because I want to. Like that's it. Like, that's really the only reason why. Like, and stuff like that was, like, kind of what I latched on to. And was just like, yeah, bro, like, if, my mom's telling me it, my homie's telling it, my homie right here is living it. Yeah. It's like, what's your excuse? Like, you got a role model that's doing it. You got the backing. Like, so go do it. What are you waiting for? So go do it.
Right.
And that's what, like, I feel like, being like selfish and just loving yourself. That's kind of like what I always tell everyone. Because like, if you can't love yourself, like, how can you love someone else? And like, it sounds so selfish, but like having that mentality is like so pivotal for just self-love.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It was like, I didn't realize I do it a lot until Dalton. I came down and we were going to Topgolf.
Davis.
Yes. Yeah. And Dalton and Colton were coming down, or were meeting up or something like that. But they were just being they were so disorganized. The Topgolf situation, they were kind of flustered. It was kind of busy. And we were coming up and we were like, hey, we're waiting, or not Colton, it was you. Hey, we're waiting for our buddy AJ to come. Can we put our name down, or is there like, should we wait to put our name down for like 30 minutes if the wait time is this? And they were like, yeah, put your name down. They won't call you for an hour. And then, if it's like 15 or 20 minutes, that's fine. They call us in like 15 minutes. Like they're pressing us like, oh, basically like, hey, you're ready. If you want to go to the table, you can wait only 20 minutes. And we're like, we wanted to wait 45.
Right.
And so Dalton was like, should we just do it, this and that? And I was like, bro, they can wait. Like, at the end of the day, like, they can wait. Like, first off, like, they want our business. Like,
they're not going to kick us out.
Yeah, they're already, like, we came ahead of time, tried to be as transparent as possible. Like, hey, this is our situation, this is what we want to do. Right. And you guys dropped the ball, and now you're putting pressure on us. And I was like, nah. Like, and I didn't realize I do that all the time. And it's like, yeah, like you should be conscious of that because, like, you know, not everything has to go my way or the highway, but just being more selfish to yourself is just like, no, like y'all can wait. And then they waited, you know, we got the food, everything worked out. But just having kind of like that mentality, I feel like is like pivotal, and it's just kind of being selfish to yourself, you know?
You've got to, or else like what happens is like your life then becomes almost too chaotic, and like you're spewing everything out. Right. Like you won't have the resources, you won't have the stuff if you're not thinking about how can I flourish maximally for myself in order to help other people, right? In order to be of service to other people. And I think that's a fascinating thing. Yeah. That's a fascinating thing because if you're not aware of that, right, then it's like Top Golf then isn't improving. Right. And they're not going to be able to get better and understand that like they're messing up too. And like this is where they can fix.
We end up paying more money out of our pocket for their situation. We're upset.
Exactly.
Where it's like, just like, no.
Yeah.
And like just truly loving yourself, like before you can love someone else, like as long as you do that, like, you can't do wrong. And if you're not doing it, you're not doing wrong. But it's just like, I take that so close to heart. Like you were saying, it's just like, you know, if the whole world could be on that wave, like it'd be a better place, of course.
Totally. Yeah, it's gonna be out of left field, but like, what's something you're struggling with right now? Wrestling with.
I would say like, not the unknown. So like my motto of being uncomfortable, because like I was saying before, when I was supposed to move like to Phoenix, it was like I got everything in place to do it. And I was sitting here like right before the interview, and I was like, dude, like almost just like freeze, you know, fight or freeze, like just freeze, and like, is this like even what I want to do? And the biggest thing for me is I hate taking a loss. So I was like, and then if I did all of this and it doesn't, it's like, would my pride, you know, is like me going back to the branch, you know, other things set up. So like just being able to take a loss and then stay uncomfortable, I feel like is like what's kind of so hard for me right now, because I'm at that stage of, I've admitted to myself, unfortunately, that I'm at the autopilot and that I need to move. And it's like, it's hard because it's like, it's so like, I can renew my lease right now.
Imagine, bro.
I have a great salary right now. Like, why would I leave?
Right.
And it's like, why? Because you said you'd stay uncomfortable. And it's like, well, what does that even mean? But like staying uncomfortable and really like, because I had to talk to myself when I didn't get that position, and it was like, it should have been mine type thing, and I took the loss. I remember my sister tweeted something that was like, I needed that L, like, thank you, I needed that L. And like taking that, because I've never been told no before, at least with the company. Every time I went in for a promotion, I got it. So like having that, and first I was already insecure about wanting to move down there, so it was like pride back there. And you
had to swallow that.
And
you swallowed that, bro. You're like, nope, all right, I don't want to be here, but I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna go interview.
I was willing to make the sacrifice, and guess what, bro? You didn't get it.
Bam.
You were not good enough. And telling myself that, because I was kind of just like in the gutter, but it was like a reality check, and I realized like, hey, if you want to stay uncomfortable, you're gonna have to keep doing things like this. And now that I'm at that branch manager stage, it's not as sweet as I thought it was. Like, you're going to be kind of getting some sour taste in your mouth a couple of times. So just getting more used to taking L's. And truly staying uncomfortable with what I consider being uncomfortable, which is, you know, moving my life 3 hours down south.
Exactly. I mean, you already know how I think you should stay uncomfortable. I think I remind you like every week. I think KJ Eats First goes hard. And I think you'd be really good at it.
That's another thing too.
Because that's something you can do if you sign the lease again for another year. Like, that is the most uncomfortable thing I think you can try and do. Because it's entrepreneurship, and it's not safe. And obviously the stupid thing to do would be quit Enterprise and go do KJ Eats First, right? That's dumb, irrational, mad uncomfortable, but stupid. Right. So it's like, what, like can I get home from work after a 50-hour work week and put in 5 hours additional work towards KJ Eats First? You know, but that's just my input. I think you would go hard, bro. And
I do agree. And it's funny that you say that, because that is something that's probably I'm the most passionate about, that I have put on autopilot. It's funny that you say that,
because I don't understand why.
Because
I don't understand what it is.
And I like it. And that's the one thing too. And like the cool part is like I always say, like Andre is able to get behind it and film it too, so it's like a crew thing. So it's I have no excuse. Like
right.
Why am I not doing it? And then the crazy part is now is like my work schedule is more manageable.
Right.
To where
that's what I'm saying.
So
bro.
yeah, no. Why am I not doing it?
Yeah, I mean, there's
funny.
something there. There's obviously some
Right.
deep insecurity about being online and stuff or whatever, and trying to manage enterprise
Yeah.
and KG, trying to figure how it works. I mean, it's scary, and I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but I'm sure it's something deep somewhere.
I would say it's the laziness. It's just another thing on my table. It's probably now that I'm.
But like that's not your identity.
Yeah,
that's like what I don't understand.
Yeah,
because
and,
like you're obviously not lazy at enterprise.
Right, and I put all my energy into enterprise, and it's like now that it's less, but it's like it's just plain like laziness, because like even then, like I've gotten, when we do the videos and things like that, like just an overwhelming loving support. Like I still like I get like so many comments and responses and questions, and like I love it. Like I love seeing that. I love people reposting and bro, let me get a bite of that.
It drives.
So it's honestly too, and it's like it's just me, and I think now it's like going back to loving myself is. I need to do more back end stuff, because like the 75 hard thing, ever since you tried to get me to do it and I didn't do it, it's like I like rebelled to working out almost. I was like, well, since I didn't go since I wasn't willing to go all hard, like, all right, like on to the next. So it's
that's
like,
not me.
So it's like more me making sure that before I'm picking up KJ Eats first, it's like, am I making sure I'm working out every day? Am I making sure like, so I would say the insecurities go back to like maybe just like self-health. To where it's like, all right, I'm just gonna be lazy then, because if I'm not gonna do KJ first, especially if I'm not gonna be like working out or doing simple yoga every morning, or doing things like that. So
are you still off the Nick?
Yeah,
that's huge.
Quit the nicotine.
That's
December
huge.
31st. Yeah, and that honestly, that was like my excuse for not like working out at the beginning, because I was like, I'm challenging nicotine, and I got COVID too, so the day after Christmas, so that didn't help. But no, the nicotine was I don't
want to work out because
I'm withdrawing from nicotine right now and still trying to deal with brain just making excuses.
Yeah.
But now that I've grasped like the no nicotine and don't need it all the time, because it's crazy. It's like I didn't even smoke cigarettes. It was school, like the anxiety of school, and
for sure.
Like those days in the library and you got like coffee and nicotine. It's like that's like your friends there, and you're gonna be there for the next 12 hours. It's like it's just crazy how quickly you get addicted to it.
Formed.
And then once we became 21 and go into the bars, you're drunk and able to hit the nicotine. It's like great. And then before you know it, it's like you're just hitting the nicotine because you woke up and took a breath this morning. So you need to hit it. So
and it's right there.
And Andrea was like a big part of that too, because she was like always just kind of nagging at me about it, of like, oh, you don't need it, but because I was like, bro, I need right to each his own, like,
right, exactly,
because
this is me.
Since I worked at Enterprise, so I'm going on like 2 years and 4 months, other than these last month going on 2 months. So for the 2 years and 2 months, there was not a time where I did not have nicotine at work every day.
It's wild.
And if I didn't have it, I either went and bought one or hit someone's at work.
Right.
So like having that realization, and the last time I quit it was because I quit before I started Enterprise, and then saw everyone doing it. That's like kind of like a little proud. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
But that's just the same thing too, is like the human mind. Like I'm the one man that could change the world. So it's like I'm proud, but like I'm not surprised. Like like I knew I could do it. It's just like what I just choose what I want to do.
Dude, it's so fascinating because like. Ooh, and I get a little emotional thinking about it. But it's like you're so good at helping other people realize their greatness, and I think you realize your own greatness. But like being able to say I can make this change, I'm sure is like crazy.
Yeah,
it's like I'm now somebody who doesn't identify as somebody who does, Nick.
Right, and
being able to recognize that, but then to be able to like expand that out to other things.
Right, it's
a slow process, but like. Now it comes to, okay, I'm going to do this workout this day.
Right.
And then build that habit out.
Exactly.
Like it's, you now have a clear example of yourself knocking down a habit.
Right.
And now it's like, what can I
on to the next
replace it with?
Yep, exactly.
Right.
which that's why I'm definitely
It's a huge achievement.
No, Eric's wedding, Eric Kuinga and Paula. That's like my next goal. I'm like, I just want to be freaking as fit as I can for their wedding when we go, because we staying in the Jersey Shore Airbnb. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So like that's definitely probably like my next goals is
of course
just that, and that's what I've been telling Andrea. Even like simple things, like I'm gonna make sure to like we're flossing every day. Like another thing, just like self-help, because shoot, it was crazy like how much you start caring when you pay for that dental bill. So I finally
when you got to pay for your own your cavities and fillings.
And now I'm sitting here, I'm moved. Okay, they sent me the X-rays and the pictures. I'm like, yo, I'm okay. Yeah, this is what they're talking about, because
exactly.
My mom, every time we'd wake up in the morning, we had like a ritual in like elementary school. It's like I brushed my teeth, washed my face, did my hair, got dressed, smelled good in hair. Like I crossed all the check marks.
Boxes and stuff.
So now I was like, but now I'm like, I'm really crossing them. Like, no, I'm gonna brush my teeth and I'm gonna floss. I'm gonna make sure
there's a purpose behind this.
Boy, we just got to do 2 brushes. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah. So just kind of the little things of loving yourself.
Yeah.
Because especially with Enterprise, like we were just going so hard and trying to figure it out, and now it's like about yourself.
Now you can breathe, bro.
How you could do what you want.
Yeah. And really, really improve yourself.
Exactly.
Right. In order to be a benefit for other people.
Right.
And the company.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's what's nice. And it's because it's so funny you say that too, because when I was doing a one-on-one with one of my employees, I always ask, whenever I'm criticizing people, I'm like, what can I be doing better? Like, what's a good and bad for me? And one of my employees told me, he says, you want to know what I think you're good at? Finding like the potential of people and blossoming them. And I was like, dang, man. Because like he just told me, it was so genuine.
Yeah.
Because people, especially once you become branch manager, that's what I don't like and like. But now that you have that title, it's like people feel a certain type of way and they have to act a certain type of way around you because you are that certain level. Right. It's like at the end of the day, that's how I feel like I grasp my team's full engagement, is by showing them the equal respect and then leading by example,
Right.
So, because it's like it's really no different. It's just now I'm going to show you how I did it, and that's it. I think that's really pivotal. But
do you think you're becoming like the group of people, like your mentors for other people for sure? Like, do you think people are saying the things about you that you said about Trey and Whit and?
That's funny everybody? You say that. I would say, yeah. I would say Trey.
It's a little it's not
it's
selfish,
so funny
but it's
that
like.
You say that though, because
do you think people are saying that?
Even then, like, I just turned 24, like, and yeah, I could say that people, especially with Trey, because I feel like he kind of had like he's the pretty boy in Scottsdale, fit, doesn't have a worry in his mind, and I feel like that was like the biggest thing, was people were so like jealous of how like he's just not stressed. We're like, everyone else is sitting here in the gutter,
dying.
And I feel like that's something that if you went back to the team and talked to them, they would say like, hey, like KJ does these things with, not with ease, but with a smile on his face, or tries to make a way to make it fun, and where it just looks easy, where it's like, how does he, in their head, he's posting on KJ Eats First, not enough, but those type of things. So I do think that they see me in the caddy and working on it myself, not taking it to somewhere else. Like,
because then that feels like how you maneuver, right? Like now it's like, okay, I have that in the back of my head. It's like I'm managing these people. I'm an example for these people. Yeah. Like how do I hold that? Yeah. How do I examine that?
Yeah, and that's the nice part about Enterprise and getting to the branch manager position, because you're challenged every day with that. And I mean, even then, I just got 2 new employees that are rotating from the home city to the airport, and trying to explain to them that and kind of getting to know them and restarting again. It's refreshing, and that's the nice part about Enterprise, is you're always faced with some type of challenge. If it's from a business aspect or an employee aspect, there's always some type of challenge that you can go to work and try to fix. Yeah, man. And that keeps you moving forward. Exactly. Keeps you moving and growing. Because I'm definitely not the same man I was 2 years ago. That's for sure. Bro. Not at all. But in some ways you are. You're the same. You're the same KJ. Yeah. It's a little more corporate. Yeah. Interesting, man. I think as we close out, bro, this was great. This was a good conversation. Yeah, definitely. It was fire. How can I be a better friend? Ooh, how could you be a better friend? I'll only answer that if you do the same to me.
Okay.
But I would say, and I guess I'll let a little bit of it out on,
Yeah, sure.
on live, but
Yeah.
just keep following, just keep being the leader you are. And I think that's you moving somewhere, but because like everything you do, dude, and that's why I say I'm so blessed. Like Colton was telling me, just Ski and Dalton, I'm so used to your guys' lifestyle because like you guys function at such a high level and are so on a tight schedule and just things that are so commendable that like, you know, you guys have that down, but it's that truly starting that chain reaction of us like moving and branching back out. Because like if you move out of state to somewhere, I mean, that's what I want to do. You know, that's what you want to do. Dalton maybe or may not want to do that, but
Right.
you're to the point now where you've done everything. It's like now just keep taking those risks and leading by example and doing that so that I can feel selfishly, but you know, feel more comfortable doing those things because everything you do, like you're great at it. Now it's like going back to that staying uncomfortable phase, I guess. So
Yeah.
just continuing to stay uncomfortable, I guess. I'll change that
Yeah.
response because like other than that, like you're such a great friend, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Same.
You can always like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no,
Like
dude, I know.
you, for it all. Like
Yeah.
that's the excuse to it, and I know if I'm in a predicament or a situation, like I can call you, and that's something that's priceless in our relationship, and you know even me being in Flagstaff and us a FaceTime away at all times, like it's such a blessing having you as a friend. So as long as you stay uncomfortable, that will help you be a better friend to me and helping us achieve that group goal of just staying uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think that's the lesson that I've taken from you. Is like continue to stay uncomfortable, keep applying pressure and keep trying. Like keep working hard, don't make excuses, and like always like keep other people in mind.
Right.
I think that's something that I want to improve on. I think for myself is that like I for so long now have been like people haven't relied on me, and so I haven't had to look out for other people. And so like I find where like I'm not looking out for other people and like watching you in the way that you and Dalton do is like unreal. And I think that's what you guys pull me towards is like to continue being a better person specifically in that sense. But like I don't think there's a thing that you can do for me to be a better person, but I think it's like continuing to be you. Like the one thing is like the FaceTime, right? Like I love the FaceTime, bro, because it's like I don't do that enough either. Like to other people, like I don't reach out like that, or like that's not how I show up for other people. And so, yeah, dude, just getting the FaceTime like the middle of the day in the cars. Yeah. Like perfect, bro.
What up?
What's good, bro?
And that's why I look forward to
that's
those
just
little
great.
gaps, just to be able to, you know, talk to your circle and see, because we're always doing something, and it's like
something's
nice.
going on, bro, all the time. Something new.
Exactly, something new. I might need a little therapy session. Or I might need to, you know, flex real quick. I don't know, but
no, it's beautiful, man.
No, and just keep doing what you're doing, because it's so fun to see. And like I said with this podcast thing, like everything you do is so out there and hard that like I really think you touching everyone's lives and taking the time to do this, and I'm just seeing you become a butterfly, and it's like it's crazy to see, because now that you're at the point to where you're fully reliant on your own business, like I said, that's what I look up to, and that's why KJ's first will take off and keep holding me accountable, like things like that, and getting my own business, because like at the end of the day, like it's just tight, bro. Like he snaps. I'm always proud to say you're my friend. And that's something that will never be old, and it's cool to see, you know, different relationships come out of it. So just keep doing you, bro.
Appreciate it, brother. From Durango, Colorado, man. This has been the podcast. Man, crazy. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Lori and
Love you,
Doug.
bro. Yeah, we love y'all. But yeah, man, thank you guys for tuning in and tapping in, staying tuned, and watching this episode. Obviously, it was a great one, as you guys saw. Of course, you know the usuals. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, share with your family and your friends the podcast. We have some great guests coming up and some awesome conversations. So just stay tuned, and we'll keep supplying. But with that being said, I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great life. I hope you're able to take something away from this and apply it to your own life. And with that being said, peace out. Love y'all. Take it easy.
Stay hard.
Ciao. That's fine. Yeah. That was good, bro.
How do you know
That was crazy.